it's not the right time.
There we go. I think so. Perfect. I'm trying to find a perfect set up here. Seems like a buffering on my phone. If you guys are watching this, can you go in the comment section and tell me how it looks on your device, if it's buffering or anything? So we could remove this screen in the bottom right. That could be affecting things, but it looks like that's buffering anyways. I'm gonna go and change the frames per second to 60 here. Be right back. There we go. That bottom left looks a little bit better. Me, it's buffering every once in a while. Oh, it's buffering a lot. Okay, one more time here. Let's also go into the live dashboard here. Stream has resumed. how bad this is. That's terrible. Can't do it 10. We're gonna close that out. We're gonna go. Oh, we don't want that open. Crap. Let's go into here. God damn it. Let's see what we can find on NASCAR.com here. The follow page. Let's see if we can watch the cam of hang it, my bad. That shouldn't be on. I think you can't have. I want the best output with this video, but 60 frames per second. I don't know. Maybe let's close out of that. We'll keep it on this page. We'll close that out. Oh crap, can't close that out, can't close that out. I want to see where I can like follow him around the track. We're gonna go on here. NASCAR racetrack. There we go. I got it. I finally figured this out, guys. What we're gonna do here is you can select audio stream MRN radio here.
On the Motor Racing Network.
Here at Daytona, 24 laps to go in race 1 of the Can-Am Duel. Couple of cars dropping to the inside of the track from about 7th on back. Everybody else single file. Joey Logano still at the front of the field. From Daytona International Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Calling all admirers of the King.
For Richard Petty, the SDP Pontiac.
We have the place for you. Celebrate the life and career of NASCAR's all-time win leader, Richard Petty.
The hat came about in the late 70s.
From the legend behind the King's famous crown to thrills and spills that the Hall of Famer had over the years.
Petty is sliding, slamming into the wall.
It's Richard Petty's Road to Royalty, and it's available for free to download on iTunes and MRN.com right now. Hi, this is Mike Bagley. Join me and the rest of the MRN crew every Tuesday night for NASCAR Live. We'll put a bow on the weekend's action and get you ready for the upcoming race with the biggest names in the sport.
As you look at that particular race, that's been one of our best races over the years, and I think every driver in the garage is looking forward to racing this particular package.
Hear exclusive interviews, expert analysis, as well as stuff you won't hear anywhere else.
Oh yeah, good job, guys. Good job.
It's NASCAR Live this Tuesday night at 7 Eastern on the Motor Racing Network.
We come back to the World Center of Racing, and the caution flag is waving once again. This time, apparently, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and William Byron got into it just past the start-finish line. Byron's car still sitting down on the inside of the racetrack. And Stenhouse was one of the few drivers, Jeff, who for the last few laps we actually saw stepping out of line. He and Kurt Busch were trying to get something started on the inside of the racetrack. It just never worked out for either of them, and now he's involved in a crash.
Yeah, they tucked back in line, Joe. Stenhouse did. He tucked in right behind William Byron. Now, as they worked right across the start-finish line, it looked like maybe Stenhouse was going to try to make a run on the 24 of Byron, and Rusty, when he did, it looked like the right front from Stenhouse got into the left rear of William Byron, and it was on from there.
Yeah, it looked that way to me also, Jeff. The car was awful tight, right on the, I'm talking about Stenhouse's right front fender, right on the left rear quarter panel of the 24. I kept looking to see if he even touched it. If he did, it was very little. That car looked like it just jumped out from underneath him as it exited the trial of the 24 of William Byron I'm talking about, and around he went. So he's got some damage. Looks like they'll be able to fix it, in my opinion. I don't think they'll have to go to a backup car unless they just want to.
Well, I will say this, though. When he turned that car around, and we can all see it right now on the ISM vision, the 24 car of Byron does come back up the racetrack and noses that Chevrolet into the outside retaining wall, Joe. So while the damage may not look good under the paint, it may be a lot worse than what it might appear. Rusty, what do you
tell
think?
you what, Jeff, we're watching this on the replay several times, and I'm telling you what, we just saw a shot right now where the 17 car, Ricky Stenhouse, never touched the 24. And the 24 was about a foot and a half away, and it just broke loose as it exited the tri-wall and got onto the flat part of the front straightaway, and he just lost it.
Yeah.
It just goes to tell you how unstable these cars are out there right now, guys.
Well, obviously, we were looking at the same thing. The 24 was up in the outside lane. The 17 of Ricky Stenhouse tried to dive to get by, but no contact. It was just William Byron's car breaking loose.
Here's what I'm trying to figure out. You guys watching this live on TV, or you just hearing the recent communication here between radio communication people on Motor Racing Network. Why is the 24 car getting towed back to pit road? It looks like his car is still raceable. I mean, come on. To me, I don't know what damage hit. He did look like on a live race replay here. Race will be dropped tomorrow at some point, or maybe later today. The races will be. Gotta record my reaction when who knows. But I'm wondering why the 24 car had to be towed back to pit road. That's my question here. We're going to get you back to the More Racing Network coverage here as they are pitting on pit road right now. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic. We'll get them back to More Racing Network.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the Fastenal Ford, one crew member under the right front of the car with a mallet. A lot of times we talk about him wailing away on it. This guy with a baseball bat just gently tapping the right front fender off from Ricky Stenhouse's car, really kind of massaging it with a baseball bat. Now just going to run it up under the tire to make sure they have good clearance on the right front of Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s car. 4-tire Sunoco Racing Fuel. Ty Dillon was in. Bubba Wallace was in as well down here. Winston, how about in front of you?
Daniel Suarez in. They went ahead and put 4 tires, topped it off with Sunoco fuel here on lap number 40. Joey Logano opting to stay out. Darian Grubb, the crew chief for William Byron's, come down off the pit box. He's going to go in the garage here. They're going to look at the car and get it ready for the Daytona 500. Alex?
Kurt Busch, Brendan Gaughan, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Justin Marks, all of them on the pit lane for fresh tires and a top-off of Sunoco fuel with 20 laps to go.
Cleaning up the track after that crash here just past the start-finish line. Again, Joey Logano out front in race 1 of the Can-Am Duel.
Hello, I'd like to deposit this to checking. Fate is a fickle master, right? The future is uncertain. Okay, and what's my account balance? The horizon is cloudy. I see a long, treacherous voyage filled with great peril. Look, can I just get a deposit slip or something?
A Fortune bank teller. Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Guy.
You know, I'm thinking here, it's probably not a smart idea to have commercials in here. I mean, it does go desktop audio, so I can just go ahead and mute the audio here. So...
Look no further than the official mortgage
provider. Who knows what's going on here in the Can-Am Duels?
Home buyers are able to complete
their
application.
We are caution number 2 for an
incident
incident between them 24 cars. William Byron wants to see Chase Elliott. Was Chase Elliott a year ago, and this year he's in the number 9 car.
Click and Close, the official mortgage provider of NASCAR.
He's not
Go
in
to
this
clickandclose.com today or call 1-833-SPEED.
Well, it does look like William Byron's race is done after completing 30.
Cleanup is complete. We're seeing the 1 to go signal with Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Ryan Newman, Brad Keselowski, and Chris Buescher at the front 5 from Daytona International Speedway.
So,
this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
All the dirt, winged excitement, and closest racing in America is featured each week on MRN's Winged Nation. Steve Post and our team of...
Gotta keep commercials out of it, so we gotta mute the audio here on commercials. So you're gonna be seeing me go into OBS here. Once the commercials are over, I don't actually know. And it's gonna be determined after this. So when a commercial does come on the radio, I'm gonna go ahead and mute the desktop audio, then maybe turn my audio back on and see quick because it could be still on the TV, who knows. But yeah, we're going to get back into the raw feed here and hope you guys are enjoying the Can-Am duels the best I can give them to you guys.
Flag at Daytona. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Motor Racing Network. The field is coming up to the Geico restart now. Green flag waves, 18 to go. Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney lead the field, with Ryan Newman and Brad Keselowski building up speed in turn one.
Logano away with the lead. That'll leave Blaney to fight for the number 2 spot. He and Ryan Newman will go side by side. Newman's got drafting help upstairs from Jamie McMurray. Down low, Brad Keselowski a little bit late arriving on the scene. That'll give Newman the 2 spot.
Logano had the buffer of Blaney and Keselowski, but no more. It's Ryan Newman, the new driver at Joey Logano's back door. Jamie McMurray there as well. Now, here's McMurray squeezing to the outside, looking for second and 3.
Gets a big run to the outside lane. Move Jamie McMurray up to the second spot, side by side for third. Here is Ryan Blaney to the inside. He'll take third, and now he'll try for second.
It just took too long for the inside line to get up to speed, but now it is, and here comes Ryan Blaney battling back. Now working to the inside of Jamie McMurray. All the while, Joey Logano is the race leader.
Low line runners are not done yet. Here comes Ryan Blaney storming back to the inside. He'll go wheel to wheel now with Jamie McMurray for position number 2. Keselowski down low in the 4th spot. Top side, then it's Ryan Newman.
Now Keselowski will swing wide, darted up the racetrack, quickly pulling that forward back in line, and it's Logano. It is Blaney. 2 cars out in front. McMurray breaks free for third. The battle's on for 4th.
Brad Keselowski to the inside of Ryan Newman. They are side by side with the inside lane advancing just a bit. And just like that, the 3 Team Penske Fords are all back together again at the front.
Jamie McMurray wanted something to say about this. He worked the outside lane trying to squeeze in line, but not before Brad Keselowski pulls up alongside. That's a battle for third, side by side in turn 1.
Jamie McMurray for many years recognized as one of the top plate racers in NASCAR, but he's got his hands full right now. Keselowski to the inside, shoves McMurray up the banking, moves up, and Keselowski takes the number 3 spot.
Now McMurray races off turn number 2 on the outside line. Down to his inside, trying to get a side draft is Chris Buescher. Buescher now will lose ground. He'll lose 4th and now race for 5th.
Buescher has little drafting help on the inside. It's a couple of car lengths back to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Buescher side by side with Ryan Newman for that 5th spot.
And we are down now to the final 15 laps here in Can-Am Duel number 1. Logano has been at the point most of the night. Blaney and his teammate Brad Keselowski have been right there with them. But again, McMurray, Ryan Newman, Bubba Wallace, and more also right there in the fight.
For the moment, they're going to call it off and just run single file through turns 1 and 2. Logano, Blaney, and Keselowski the top 3, then McMurray and Newman.
One of the things we've learned further back, here comes Stenhouse breaking out of line yet again.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to the bottom of the racetrack, drafting help from David Reagan, but it is only those 2 cars on the inside, not making a whole lot of progress on the bottom.
Yeah, you can tell Ricky Stenhouse is one of the guys trying to make something happen. He's not in the mood just to sit back there and just kind of follow everybody. He wants to see what that car is going to do. Now another Ford that's really getting on running good out there, Darrell Bubba Wallace. That Ford of his, that Richard Petty Ford, has been real fast all night long. And guys, on that restart, he gave Jamie McMurray a little tap in the back and just shot Jamie right up there. So Darrell is kind of figuring out this drafting stuff pretty quick.
Watching Ricky Stenhouse, he's probably been down on the inside of the racetrack more than anybody else tonight. Jeff, we saw Kurt Busch in the first part of the race. He tried it for a while, but Ricky Stenhouse is determined to learn something. He's the only one in the entire field working the inside lane.
And don't you think, Dave Moody, if he had some drafting help, in other words, if others would drop down there either in front of him or behind him, Stenhouse probably could propel his way to the front. And the reason I say that, Dave, the car looks fast. He just doesn't have anybody to work with.
It's definitely fast, Jeff. It's been, trouble in turn 2, spinning down to the inside of the racetrack, up and into the outside wall is David Gilliland. He was on the outside of Ricky Stenhouse. They were side drafting through the corner. Gilliland breaks loose. Stenhouse narrowly escapes in turns 1 and 2.
All right, so trouble once again, our third caution flag of the evening with 13 laps to go. Let's go to the Care Center and Kim Kuhn.
William Byron has just been let out of the Florida Hospital Care Center. William, what happened?
Yeah, honestly, we're doing fine before then. The Exalta Chevy was running pretty decent, and then that bottom line was trying to make that work and just got on my quarter panel and sucked me around. So I don't know, it just was really unfortunate. Hate it for my guys to tear up a race car, but we'll I guess get another one out and go for the 500.
Your first taste of Cup racing, what did you learn for Sunday?
I learned a lot. I mean, it was pretty intense out there, just trying to make the lanes work. We couldn't really make the bottom work, and I got up in the top groove, and we were all just kind of riding, but a couple guys were trying to make the bottom work, and just got the air taken off me. So I'll learn from that.
Thanks, William. William Byron making his first Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series start, unfortunately, was cut short here tonight.
Florida Hospital's the official healthcare partner of Daytona International Speedway, with 2 care centers and 9 first aid stations, providing care to drivers and fans alike. Florida Hospital and Daytona International Speedway are working together to champion your health. Learn more and enter to win the Ultimate Daytona 500 experience, brought to you by Florida Hospital. To learn more, visit yourchampionforhealth.com.
All right, we are under caution flag yet again, and this caution flag, a lot of similarities, Rusty Wallace, to what we just saw a moment ago with William Byron.
Yeah, I could not believe it. We watched Ricky Stenhouse pull to the bottom to try to make a pass on David Gillian, and it sucked the back of his car around just like it did William Byron. Almost a carbon copy, just a little bit different part of the track. So I don't know what's going on there, but I do know a lot of these cars are just kind of standing up on the racetrack and real skittish and skating around. They all look pretty unstable and loose to me.
Boy, 2 crashes, and there was no contact between the quote-unquote 2 drivers involved. Under the caution flag, Logano at the point, then Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski, then Jamie McMurray and Ryan Newman. That's your top 5 with 11 to go.
All right, welcome to
From William Byron after he got into the outside wall when Stenhouse tried to pass him. Now let's hear from the 92 team with David Gilliland as to what happened up in turn 1.
Yeah, he's an idiot. He won 2 of these things. Now he's a hero. So, round of applause. As long as you're all right. Yeah, I'm fine.
Well, I think when they go back and take a look at the video, they may say otherwise because, again, Stenhouse did not get into the 92 car of David Gilliland. Again, they were close, like Rusty pointed out. Air off the back of the car, around the car goes. So they'll go back to look at it. Hopefully they've got a backup car. We were kind of speculating. We'll see if we can't get you that answer coming up here in a few moments. Working under the caution flag, 10 to go here in duel number 1 from Daytona International Speedway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Motor Racing Network has a way for you to reach out and express your thoughts and opinions on NASCAR. It's the MRN Fan Forum Hotline.
I was wondering what's the first thing you tend to
I was curious about those new rules from what I heard.
Call in 844-4-ASK-MRN. Got a question or comment for a driver or MRN personality? 844-4-ASK-MRN.
You guys keep it on. Listen to you guys next
It's
weekend.
the Fan Forum Hotline, your connection to the sport of NASCAR.
A new season is right around the corner, and NASCAR Today takes you along for the ride.
It won't be a huge change, but I'm looking forward to it. To be able to drive for Roger Penske on the Cup side has been something I've always wanted to do.
Nobody covers the sport like the Motor Racing Network, and NASCAR Today keeps you up front.
Go race and try to go for wins and keep developing our equipment and making sure our stuff's good for the kids that are coming up.
Get set for the green flag on the 2018 season with NASCAR Today, right here every weekday.
Getting ready to go back under the green flag. Top 5, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski. Yep, that's Team Penske, 1, 2, 3. Then Ryan Newman and Jamie McMurray.
Getting down to wrapping up this first of the 2 races that make up the Can-Am Duel. Before we go green, let's get a social media update from Kim Kuhn.
During the offseason, Joe, there were some questions from fans if we'd be racing the Daytona 500 for the first time in a long time without an Earnhardt in the field, as Dale Jr. retired and Jeffrey Earnhardt was left without a ride at the end of 2017. But a deal put together late in January between Jeffrey and Starcom Racing ensured the Earnhardt name would be kept alive in the Great American Race for the 40th straight year. And now Jeffrey Earnhardt is honoring his late grandfather, Dale Earnhardt, on the 20th anniversary of his Daytona 500 win with a special helmet. He unveiled the tribute helmet yesterday, and man, this thing is so cool. The helmet was designed and painted by Off-Axis Paint and features the Intimidator's likeness. You can check out the photos of the helmet on Jeffrey's Twitter at JEarnhardt1. And Jeffrey was only 8 when Senior won the 1998 Daytona 500, but he still remembers what a big deal it was. And man, again, this helmet is so cool. Again, check it out at JEarnhardt1, and check us out on Twitter at MRN Radio.
All right, Kim, thank you very much. Getting ready for the Geico restart. Logano, Blaney, row 1. Brad Keselowski, McMurray, row 2. Ryan Newman, Bubba Wallace, row number 3 with 9 to go.
9 laps remaining in race 1 of the Can-Am Duel. And off we go. Joey Logano pulls out, crosses over, and pulls down in front of teammate Ryan Blaney.
Blaney now left to fight for the number 2 position. They'll go side by side as they come up to speed into the banking of turn 1. It's Blaney on the inside. To the outside, Jamie McMurray. Then 2 by 2. Down low, it's Brad Keselowski. Top side, Bubba Wallace. Low line has got the run off 2.
Logano again scampers away with the lead, but it doesn't take long for Ryan Blaney to get to his back bumper. Side by side for third. Here's Keselowski to the inside of McMurray. They're stacked up double wide, about 5 rows deep behind them.
Ryan Newman to the inside of Bubba Wallace. Then it's going to be Daniel Suarez. Next car in line on the bottom with Kurt Busch to his outside. Stacked up from 4th on back behind the Team Penske trio.
And I'll tell you what, you see Darrell Bubba Wallace in that Chevrolet trying to draft with Jamie McMurray in another Chevrolet. They got a shot on the outside to get those cars to the front. But those two have been working together in those Chevys all day long.
Well, they're going to need to work together because those Fords up front are strong.
Battle for the number 7 position is 2 by 2 right now. Daniel Suarez, after an early incident, dives below Kurt Busch, slides up across the nose, and he'll take the spot.
Heavy Ford count at the front of the field. The Fords of Logano, Blaney, Keselowski. Then you got a couple of Chevrolets with McMurray and Bubba Wallace.
Top 5 cars beginning to break away just a bit from 6th place running Ryan Newman. Then it is Daniel Suarez, Kurt Busch, David Reagan. Everybody single file in the outside lane.
Yep, that's the way they come off turn 4. The front 10, 12 cars, all nose to tail, working back to the start-finish line with now 7 laps to go. No one stepping out of line, but back near the back of that pack, we see Kurt Busch looking for some opportunities, Dave.
Kurt Busch has been trolling the bottom for the last few laps, even prior to the last caution, Joe, trying to get somebody to go with him. For the moment, though, he's going to tuck it right back into that outside line.
And he's running in the 8th position right now, 8th of the 9 cars that are in the lead draft. Behind them, you've got Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who is starting to lose that draft unless he can make some maneuvers. Oh, to do it right now, to the bottom in 3.
Right to the bottom of the racetrack for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., but has no drafting help on the bottom. Gets around David Reagan, gets around Kurt Busch, and pulls up alongside Daniel Suarez.
Well, if you were with us for the clash, you will recognize that tonight looks a lot like that. Up front, Team Penske, Fords, 1, 2, 3, and Dave, everybody trying to figure out a way to get by them.
Beginning to shuffle the deck back a little bit. Ricky Stenhouse, he got way sideways on the bottom of turn one. Somehow saves it. He's still down on the bottom by himself, but just saved a race car that time by.
Man, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is giving her all she's got tonight. He'll get back in line right behind David Reagan, and slowly here come Chris Buescher and Ty Dillon into the mix at the tail end of the field.
A lap ago, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had a ton of momentum into turn 3, gained a couple of spots. Unfortunately, gave it all back as he had nobody to draft with. Did line just in front of Chris Buescher.
5 to go with 3 Fords at the front of the field. Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, and Brad Keselowski, followed by Jamie McMurray. Then Bubba Wallace, Ryan Newman, Daniel Suarez, Kurt Busch, Ricky Stenhouse, and David Reagan. If no one else learns anything tonight, I can guarantee you that Ricky Stenhouse will leave here with a lot of information. He's tried a lot of things. He's the only one. He's been all over the track.
Yeah, exactly right, Joe. He's one of the guys just trying to get it done, and if he doesn't get it done, no big deal. You know, he's still going to have a great starting spot in the 500, but he's trying to see what his car is going to do. I commend him for doing that, although he hasn't touched 2 drivers out there, but those 2 drivers he didn't touch got in the wall. So there's something weird going on with the airflow off these cars that's causing them to get loose in front of him. Or maybe it's just a maneuver that he does when he pulls the car down. It's making everybody in front of Ricky really, really loose.
Right now, Bubba Wallace running in the 5th position. Logano leading the field back to 1.
Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski, 1, 2, 3. Then a couple of car lengths back to Jamie McMurray. He's got a trunk full of Bubba Wallace. Again, the only man downstairs, Mr. Lonely, Ricky Stenhouse.
Mr. Stenhouse pulls his car to the bottom of the racetrack. Now he'll slide up against David Reagan. Try to get his side draft. Won't be able to do it. Now Kurt Busch steps out of line. Reagan goes. Stenhouse now will try to make that a 3-man dance.
Couple of Fords stepping out of line just outside of the top 5. Kurt Busch pulls up alongside Jamie McMurray. Pulls up alongside 3rd place running Brad Keselowski with help from Reagan.
Kurt Busch trying to get it turned up down on the inside of the racetrack, finding some company for Ricky Stenhouse, but he's way at the back of the pack. The other car dropping to the inside is David Reagan. A lot of space in between those 3, but at least there's 3 of them down low.
And now there's a challenge on for the lead. Ryan Blaney goes to the bottom of the racetrack. He's going to take a run at Joey Logano. No drafting help for Blaney. He's going to have to do it himself. He's got a nose up on the inside.
Side by side for the lead. Blaney to the inside, Logano to the outside. They're starting to shuffle things up. Oh, trouble! Keselowski gets turned. Jamie McMurray now will make contact. Keselowski the only one to slide as he makes heavy contact with the outside wall. The sliding still continues on the apron, up the banking, back down the apron in 3.
Only 2.5 laps remained in this one, Mike Bagley, and it all broke out at the front of the field working down the super stretch.
Well, Jeff, we saw this on Sunday in the Clash where when things started to get racy, all of a sudden all heck broke loose, and that's exactly what happened. It started when Ryan Blaney pulled out of line, got alongside Logano for the lead, and then the jostling for positions let loose, and unfortunately for Brad Keselowski got turned, and there was some contact from Jamie McMurray as well, but only a solo car spin for Keselowski on the back straightaway.
Caution flag out for the 4th time this evening. Meanwhile, it's
backup car that's good, Ricky Benton and everybody at Ricky Benton Racing, Black's Tire and CarQuest. We got a good backup, so that's the bright light of tonight, I guess.
That's David.
Figure out what to do with it. He almost thought about going to the 12, but he comes back up, and McMurray filled that space and nowhere to go in the wall.
Wow, that's a shame because that too is a great car, and now they've got to go to a backup.
I was so surprised to see Blaney make that move with 3 to go on his teammate Logano. Yeah, you can see as he starts to come up, they hooked a little bit, and it made it even look worse as Keselowski turned into the outside.
Well, we saw Blaney do this very same thing in the Clash. He tried to get the lead, and he pulled out the line, and nobody went with him. I think he still ended up 4th, but he doesn't want to run second.
38 and 17 behind. Outside with a run. Keep coming straight ahead, straight ahead. You're good, you're good. Caution's out here. Up there, side by side. Hold by run out front. Run inside. Outside front. Inside.
Suarez has done some great maneuvering around some of these wrecks tonight.
Bubba did a nice job right there, too, guys. Up to third place, and a great move by him.
And that awesome view from our visor cam. Heavy damage there. I can't imagine that they'll be able to fix that.
Nope, a lot of damage.
And here's Brad Keselowski's radio.
After there, spotter. I'll have to go look at it. There was a big enough lane for McMurray to get there, and he went. I can see that. It's just one of them deals. Sorry, guys.
You know, that communication is key, but you also have to understand a lot's happening in a short amount of time, and it's all the way on the back straightaway. These spotters do an amazing job, but let's remember they can't do it all.
That's one of the best, Joey Meyer. I mean, one of the best spotters up there. He said he couldn't tell really what was going on.
I want you to watch Bubba Wallace